for today's video, I wanted to talk to you about oxidization of your foundation. And what is that? And what does it mean? And what does it do? And all that kind of stuff. And basically what oxidization is a term that happens to foundation when it dries and changes color. Have you ever noticed how you go into the store and they swatch you for your foundation and you're like, oh my god, it's a perfect match! And you take it home and you put it on and it becomes way darker. In some cases it even becomes a little lighter, but most of the times it becomes way darker and you're like, wow, I have an orange face. Like, what went wrong here? It looked perfect in the store, and it looks perfect when you put it on. That's another thing. You maybe put it on in the morning, you're like, oh my god, it looks so flawless, mwah, mwah, vogue, vogue, selfie, selfie. Walk out the door, and then halfway through your day you look in the mirror and you're like, oh my god, I'm a pumpkin. What happened? That is because of oxidization, and many foundations do that. When it comes to the breakdown of foundations, many of them are pigment, and they're either oil or water-based. Some of them are silicone-based. There's definitely a lot of different ththings inside of there, but what happens kind of across the board is that sometimes, especially if people have oily skin, when you put... Hush, hush, hush. When you put foundation on your skin, it can actually react with both the air and the oils on your face and change color. And especially for people with oil like me, for some reason the oil in my face really reacts with a lot of foundations and actually causes it to oxidize. And oxidize is basically the term getting oxygen to something. You know, the heart and the lungs oxidize the blood by giving oxygen to the blood. Kind of like what happens to your foundation on your face, only it doesn't have organs and a respiratory system. But when you put foundation on your face, a lot of times the air can react to it. And you can actually test out your foundation and see if it's oxidizing by putting a little bit on your hand and letting it dry. And if you notice that it really darkens when it dries, that probably means that it's prone to oxidizing in general. Now, if it doesn't do that immediately, it could be that you have a lot of oil on your face that is causing that as well. But normally any foundation that you put on, if you leave it on for a little bit, it normally will darken just a smidgen. So always keep that in mind. So how do you know if a foundation is going to oxidize? You really don't. The best way is to test it out, wait 5, 10, 15 minutes, and then go back and look at your skin and see which one is the best match, because that's how it's overall going to dry. Now, but if you already have like a favorite foundation that you spent like, you know, $40 at Sephora, and you're like, holy crap, I just realized this is, oh, I just said a bad word, holy crud muffins, I just realized that this is oxidizing on my skin, I don't want to waste $40, what do? You can apply different primers, especially a silicone primer. It keeps the foundation on the skin, but doesn't let as much of the oils shine through. That being said, there is still oxygen that is drying out the that dries the foundation when it's on your skin. That in general will cause a little bit of oxidization that you can't do anything about. But if you apply a primer, that could help if the oil is part of the oxidization problem. So, that's a little bit about it. Let me know if you have specific questions that I can try to answer from my personal experience or whatever in the bottom comments. But basically it's the act of the foundation dries a little bit. Of course it dries when you take it out of the tube, and it dries a different color on your skin because of the oxygen that mixes with it. So definitely test out your foundation the right way. Be very, very patient with your foundation. That's the other thing, is that this normally happens with liquid foundation. Usually not so much with powder foundation, just because it's the liquid foundation that is really going through more of a change from, you know, complete liquid to kind of dry-ish on your face, whereas a powder is kind of a powder no matter what. When it comes to BB creams and stuff and, you know, tinted moisturizers, I find personally that those oxidize much more. Reason why is because a foundation is, you know, foundation. A BB cream is kind of half foundation, half moisturizer. And what I find is that when the moisturizer or when the ingredients soak in, the pigment is what's left on the skin, and it's normally darker. Because, you know, moisturizer is normally like a whitish color, and when the white absorbs but the color just stays on top, it normally gets darker. So I do find that buying a couple shades lighter and of course testing them out does help me. But I hope that this answered some of your questions. If you have additional ones, let me know. Tell me about what your foundation does. Does it oxidize? Does it not? What do you think causes it? Tell me what foundation you're using. Tell me, that's the question of like the century here. What foundation are you using? Because currently I am wearing a tinted moisturizer in No. 1 by Pixi Beauty, and it did darken a little bit. But I am using the Benefit Professional Primer. How about it? So tell me what is on your face, and I look forward to talking to you in the comments and seeing you guys all in the next video. Love you guys. Bye.